probably the best stand-up in the racket.
He's funny. Did I say that twice? Oh, good. Well, he is.
Here he is. Personal favorite of mine. This guy, among the new comedians, is young and gifted.
Very much. You look great. That's all we need, another bright new young comedian.
Good friend of mine, a wonderful comedian.
Please welcome my old buddy,
Tom Dreesen.
Tom Dreesen.
Tom Dreesen.
Tom Dreesen.
Here he is, Mr. Tom Dreesen.
Tom Dreesen.
And to this day, people say, "Who's Tom Dreesen?" It was a great start. And I know who Tom Dreesen is because I'm Tom Dreesen. And as we do every week, we bring you laughter through funny stories and wisdom through motivation. And the reason we do that is because my co-host, Joe Goll, has known me since he was 10 years old. He calls me Uncle Tom, and that's okay with me. And he's asked me so many times, Uncle Tom, tell me a funny story about this, that, or the other. And also, Uncle Tom, I want to be in show business like you. That was when he was 10 years old. So help me through that with motivation. How can I reach my goals? So that's what this show is all about. And here's Joe Goll.
Yes, and now we get to share it with the good people out there, right?
Yes.
How are you, Tom? Are you good? I know I ask you every week, so how are you?
I had a great week. I'm doing what I'd love to do. I've been a stand-up comedian now 56 years, and I still do stand-up comedy on the road with my one-man show, The Man Who Made Sinatra Laugh.
Right.
90-minute show that I do. But also, when I'm off the road, I'll go to the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Store. I go to the Flappers in Burbank or the Comedy Chateau, and you go with me sometimes. Yeah. And I work on new material, so life is great.
Yeah. Best room you like to go to in Hollywood?
Well, I want to make the other ones mad, but the best comedy room to me is the Laugh Factory. It's got a low ceiling, and most comedians, or all comedians will tell you don't want to work outdoors. There's no ceiling.
Yeah.
Laughter is sound. It hits a ceiling and comes at you.
Right.
The higher the ceiling, the the thinner the sound.
Right.
So we like a low ceiling. The Laugh Factory's got a low ceiling. The people are sitting in right up to the stage.
Yeah.
And so it makes for real good comedy. And today what they do, when I started out, you take a tape recorder and you tape your show so you learn, try out your new material.
Sure.
Today they film you at all these places. Every one of them, they'll film you, and you can get your video by the time you get home sometimes.
Right.
And you can watch yourself, and that joke worked or that didn't work. Yeah. And you can take a minute or two out of that, as you've done for me so many times, and put it on Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah.
And millions of people, if they like the joke, millions of people view it, but they'll share it.
Yeah.
As you know, we had one joke that got 2.4 million views, and I forgot how many shares was it?
It was almost 100,000 shares. I think it was like 78,000, 79,000
shares. And so that means that's almost like doing a national television show with two of your jokes.
It's unreal.
In the old days, you did the Tonight Show or those TV shows, and you had to do like 5 or 6 minutes. You gave away a lot of material on national television.
Right.
Now you can just take 1 minute and Dane Cook, who was a friend of mine, when it first came out, MySpace, he went right away to social media and he started putting funny things on MySpace. He started filling 15,000-seat arenas.
Yeah.
And got movies through that.
Wasn't he the first, I don't know the first comedian, but to sell out the Garden, Madison Square Garden?
Well, I think of all people, no, a couple of people have done it, sold out the Garden.
Yeah, but he did sell out Madison Square Garden.
I think maybe, he did sell it out. But he was the first to use social media.
Correct.
Andrew Dice Clay sold it out 2 nights in a row.
Got it right.
And so did Dane Cook.
Yeah.
But he was the first to use social media to get there.
Yeah.
The others used national television. To get there.
Right. My week was good. Thank you for asking. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, how was your week, Joe?
My week was good. I forgot to tell you, I had 8 of my friends in for Halloween.
Your buddies?
They visited me during this week.
From Chicago?
From Chicago.
Your buddies from Chicago?
My buddies from Chicago.
Because we're both from Chicago.
We're Chicago boys, if people have watched the show. And they visited me, and
8 of your buddies.
8 of them.
That's 7 too many.
That's way too many, yeah. And I told you on the phone, I said, Saturday, that they were leaving the next day on Sunday. I said, Tom, I love my friends. I really do. I've known them since kindergarten, preschool, but it's time for them to go home, I need to get back to life. But it was a great week to be here. The Dodgers, they won the World Series, as you know, we were texting back and forth about it. I mean, what a hell of a series. Incredible.
In all the years I've been watching baseball, 7 decades. Yeah. I've been watching baseball, and I'm a big baseball fan, as you know, a Cub fan.
Yeah.
And I think that's the greatest World Series I've ever seen. Now, of course, to me, the 2016 World Series,
sure, yeah,
because I'm a Cub fan, and
right.
They hadn't won in 108 years,
right?
So it was very emotional for me.
Sure, yeah.
But watching baseball, I love baseball, and I know baseball.
Yeah.
And watching the manager's tactics and the strategies and the incredible defensive plays that were coming up, as well as offensive, and then that 18-inning game,
unbelievable.
Yeah. And nobody mentions this much because Ohtani was the MVP because I can't remember.
Yamamoto was the MVP of the whole series.
Of the whole series.
But
in that particular 18-inning game.
Correct.
But there was one guy who stepped up. They had exhausted their bullpen, as you can imagine, in an 18-inning game.
Yeah.
And there was one guy left in the bullpen. Mm-hmm. He was the 10th choice to go out that night because he had only pitched 18 innings that whole year.
The whole year, and he had a 5.4 something ERA. So he only threw maximum, I think it was 34 pitches the whole year. Unbelievable.
Now he goes in that game and he keeps them shut out all the way to the 18th inning, and the last guy he struck out, he threw like 70 pitches or something like that. He was really phenomenal.
Unbelievable. And they, like you said, he's the last pitcher. The Dodgers were screwed. They were going to the stands for pitchers, if anything.
The hot dog man.
The hot dog man. And Toronto had pitchers. So if it weren't for Klein, I don't think the Dodgers win that series at all.
Wow, it was just an amazing series. And everything about it. I mean, Toronto is a great ball club. Has been a great ball club all last year. They had great hitters, great pitching, everything, defense. But it was just one of those days that last game, it went to the 11th inning, this is one of those days. It's just one of the things too. You got to have a lot of luck. You got to have a lot of luck in any endeavor. Yeah. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of skill, but luck doesn't hurt you.
No, luck doesn't hurt. Going back to the 2016 Cubs World Series, which I remember where I was watching that. You became a Cub fan, but yet you were born on the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Because they're all White Sox fans on the south side of Chicago.
All White Sox fans, right.
I grew up in Harvey, Illinois, a suburb on the south side of Chicago, and we were very poor. We've discussed this many times. Sure. But we actually lived in a shack. We had no bathtub, no shower, no hot water.
Yeah.
And it wasn't during Depression. I'm not that old. But anyhow, we didn't have a TV. Everybody had TVs. We didn't have a TV. I'd go to school and everybody was talking about Howdy Doody and all these other things. I don't know what the hell they were talking about because we didn't have a television set. But we had an old beat-up radio, and my dad would sit out in the back outside the shack. He'd sit out there with a six-pack, which was his best friend. A six-pack was my dad's best friend. Him and six-pack got along real good.
Yeah.
12-pack would have been wonderful. And he would sit there, drink beer, and listen to Cub games. And I became a Cub fan at 5 and 6 years old.
Got it.
Not knowing I lived in enemy territory.
Right.
It was all White Sox territory. White Sox fans hate Cub fans. They don't despise them. Yeah. They hate them. They do despise them. I mean,
for sure.
And I was 8 years old. I could take a punch.
Yeah,
all the White Sox fans would want to beat me up all the time. They hated Cub fans,
Right. Yeah. And I think it's still like that. I think Sox fans hate Cubs fans more than Cubs fans hate Sox fans.
Yeah, I would agree to that.
Yeah, because my buddy who was visiting me, he's like, "Hey, how's Cancun for the Cubs?" And I said, "Cancun. Sox were in Cancun at the end of the regular season because they take vacations at the end of the season." Yeah. But did you go to any Cubs games growing up? I mean, I know you said you were dirt poor, so did you have? I mean, how much was a Cubs game back then?
Well, it was like you could go into the bleachers for like 50 cents. But my brother and I would shine shoes. And we'd bring the money home to my mom, and she'd put it in a little crack cup in the cupboard. She would use our money. We helped feed my brothers and sisters, but she'd take a nickel and put it in a little crack cup. When that got filled, she would give it to us, and we'd take the IC from Harvey downtown to the elevated, take the elevator over Wrigley Field, and go sit in the bleachers.
Wow!
And also, if in those days, if you stayed over and helped them clean up, they would give you a free pass for the next day.
Would they really?
Yeah, if you cleaned up the bleachers, you helped them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, yeah. But yeah, interesting.
they stopped that.
Jim Fry, the manager of the Chicago Cubs, said to me one time, "How did you become a Cub fan?" And I told him this story.
Sure.
And I said, my brother and I would sit in the bleachers, and I would say, "Look at the bat boy. Boy, I wonder if we could be how could we be a bat boy?"
Yeah.
I was ready to clean up the owner's house, or
Yeah, right.
And he said, my brother said, "Oh, that's North Side rich kids get to be bat boys. They don't. That's not us South Side kids,
Yeah.
And I told Jim Fry that story.
Yeah.
So he said, maybe we'll make you a bat boy. I'm a grown man. I'm a comedian at that time. I'm in my 40s. I'm appearing all around the country. And he said, make you a bat boy. He made me a celebrity bat boy 4 games a year for like 4 years.
No.
At Wrigley Field, I'd go there as a grown man. Dave Letterman used to bust my chops all the time.
Yeah.
You don't really, you get the uniform on okay and you're in the dugout, but you don't really go out and pick up bats. I said, yes, I do. No, tell me you don't do that. Tell me you're a grown man. You don't go pick up the bat. I said, yeah, I go pick up. That's what a bat boy does. He picks up.
Right.
He said, yeah, but you're a bat man. You're not a bat boy.
You're a bat.
Anyhow, so I would go and I'd be bat boy for the Cubs. And they'd let me hit batting practice. I got to hit batting practice. I played in a fast pitch league here for years, the show business league.
Yeah.
32 teams.
Yeah.
Billy Crystal had a team, and
Yeah.
Tony Danza had a team.
By the way, not to stop you, they still have that today.
Yeah.
The show business. Like, I played in it, but except it's different agency companies. So, like, William Morris was in it. I was with Luba Rockland at the time, so I was Luba Rockland. Independent Artist Group, CAA had one. So now it's different agencies.
Yeah, well, William Morris had a team there. I always say, I was signed with William Morris. William Morris agents, they say they don't have a heart. They have 2 hearts. One's as big as a pea, and the other one's just a little bitty one. But anyhow, King World sponsored our team. They owned the Little Rascals. They owned Oprah Winfrey and a lot of other shows.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so we were the Little Rascals, my softball team. And so when they would let me hit batting practice, I'd go out in the outfield and I'd catch fly balls and hit batting practice.
Sure, yeah.
And one day, Chicago Tribune's doing a story on me about being a bat boy for the Cubs, and they came and they watched me, watch me hit batting practice and go out in the outfield. And John Cox, the assistant general manager, pitches batting practice. And I asked him, would you throw some soft ones in there so I look good?
Yeah.
Because I was playing in a fast-pitch softball league, but, hard ball's a totally different thing.
Sure, yeah.
John said, sure, Tommy. Well, Rick Sutcliffe, the pitcher for the Cubs, said, Tom, great pitcher for the Cubs, by the way.
Yeah.
He said, Tom, let me throw to you. I want to throw to you. I said, oh, no, Rick, John's going to let me, John's going to let me hit some, good ones, throw some in there. He said, I'll throw you some soft pitches. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Well, he goes out there and he did that. He lobbed some in, and I hit a ground ball here, a ground ball. I popped one up, ground ball. But he threw one in, and I got a round on it, boom, and I hit out to the outfield. It hit in the outfield and went about 4 or 5 hops and rolled into the warning track into the wall.
Sure.
Well, the Chicago Tribune next day said, on one bounce, I hit the wall,
Yeah.
which was a lie. But when I hit that ball, me and my big mouth, I had to open my big mouth. I said, all the people were watching and the press and everything. Yeah. I said, hey, Sut, if I get hit off of you, I'd be in the Hall of Fame one day.
No.
And I never saw another pitch.
He said, watch this, yeah.
Is that right? Is that right? Sliders, fastballs, curveballs. I'm swinging. Yeah, I look so bad. Sutcliffe was a prankster.
Yeah.
When I'm bat boy,
Yeah.
he would tell the WGN camera, I'll cue you, pose on me. He would take a styrofoam cup and fill it with Kool-Aid. But before he filled it, he would punch a hole in the side and put his finger there. And then he'd come up next to me talking to me while the game is going on. And I don't know, he's got the camera on me, right? He'd say, I'll be down. Tommy, hold this for me. I'd hold it. I'd be looking at him now, Kool-Aid squirting all over my uniform. It'd be on the evening news on WGN. He would play tricks on me. One time he said to me, Al Nipper was pitching. He said, Nipper, Sut called me over. Come sit here, Tom. Sit here. He said, I want to talk to you. I sit down. I don't know. He had tar on the bench seat by me. I sat down in the black tar, and I'm talking to him. He said, Nipper, the inning was starting to start. Nipper signaling for a towel. Al Nipper, the pitcher, was in on it. I said, okay. I run the towel out there. Now he had the camera crew. I had black all over my pants.
No.
Yeah. That's on the evening news. So Sut was always pulling tricks on me.
Wow. Were they a lot of pranksters on that team?
Sutcliffe was one of them. There were very few.
It's baseball. You bust each other's balls, right?
Yeah. But I mean, Sean Dunston would the shortstop.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Ryan Sandberg, pretty serious guy, great guy. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
And God, my mind just blanked. He hit 400 home runs. Anyhow, he was a serious guy. There were several serious guys on the team, but Sut was one of them. That was a clown. Bobby De Niro would have fun with you and all that stuff. But Sut was really, and he was also the toughest guy on the team too.
Really?
Really a tough guy.
Interesting. Yeah. I know you probably get asked this all the time, but do you have I guess like a favorite Wrigley story? Favorite time you went to a game?
You know, everybody would want to say, now here comes a couple funny stories about Wrigley Field.
Yes.
Because we came here to tell you funny stories. And later some motivation I hope you'll get a kick out of. But people would say, was it when Ernie Banks hit his 500th home run? But two of my favorite times, I was an altar boy. Mm-hmm. Every now and then the nuns would take the altar boys down to Wrigley Field.
No kidding.
First time I went with the nuns from Ascension Church.
Really?
They got arrangement through somebody there, and they take the altar boys.
Yeah.
And in those days, the nuns wore the habits. And I've told this story on television. I've told this story on my nightclub act sometimes. Mm-hmm. There were two guys sitting behind the nuns, and they couldn't see the game over the nuns' habits. So one of them got very angry, and he spoke loud enough, excuse me, so the nuns could hear him. Uh-huh. He said, I'm going to go to Texas, only 10% of the population there are Catholic. And the other guy said, I'm going to go to Oklahoma, only 5% of the population there are Catholic. And one of the nuns turned around and said, why don't you go to hell? There are no Catholics down there.
No, she didn't. Wow.
And of course, I tell that story all the time. But one of the times that I went to Wrigley Field that I'll never, ever forget, in my neighborhood where we grew up at in Harvey, there were a lot of taverns, 36 taverns in Harvey. Yeah. And a lot of the taverns would do this. They would charter a bus to take 50 people from the tavern down to see the Blackhawks play or the Cubs play or the White Sox fans play, or they'd take them downtown to see the Bulls play, And we so all the guys, they would put a big sign up now because you're going to limit it at 50. And all the guys in the neighborhood are all going to go. So they come to the tavern and they have a few beers and then get on the bus. Yeah. On the bus were garbage cans full of beer, ice cold beer with ice in it and stuff. And so the guys would drink a lot of beer going down there. Yeah. By the time they got to the game, they were half hammered anyhow, But I'll tell a quick story. One time we went at Blackhawk Stadium. You take 50 guys there. Well, by the time
50?
50 guys.
Oh my gosh!
They leave the bus drivers out in front, and he's got when the game is over, he's going to take us back. These guys get there, and they're already half drunk.
Yeah.
2 or 3 of them would get in a fight before because Blackhawk Stadium, there's fights all over the place. They'd get in a fight, and maybe get thrown out, have to wait by the bus outside.
Right.
That happened a couple times.
Yeah.
Another time, one of my buddies was so drunk he threw up on a road down in front. He threw up on a guy in the road down below. That caused a whole big problem. But anyhow, always we would leave the stadium, and 45 guys would be on the bus, and the driver saying, "I'm sorry, I can't wait any longer," because it would be gone, and 5 guys were missing.
Yeah.
We'd get back to the bar and start drinking there, and you drink till like 2 o'clock in the morning when the bars close up. So all of a sudden, it was saying, "Where's Larry? Where's John? Where's Bill?" Later in that night, 2 of the guys would show up.
Yeah.
The following morning, another guy would show up. There's still 2 missing. About 3 days later, the other guy would show up, and the other guy's still missing to this day. That's my neighborhood. But the other time, we took a bus down to Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
50 of us. We're sitting up in the upper deck, and anyhow.
Yeah.
There's rows, like 4 or 5 rows open in front of us. Mm-hmm. So we figure it's another group chartered bus like us.
Sure, yeah.
But it's the first inning starting to come and they're not there. So we said, maybe we'll move down. We can sit on the rail there.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, here come all these people coming in. They're coming in. And they were dressed kind of strange and kind of odd. And, and they had some kind of supervisor with them. And all of a sudden, they come in. 2 women said, "Hi, I'm Edith. This is my friend Margaret." Edith and Margaret. We said, "Hi, Edith. Hi, Margaret." The game's starting to start. We went on to sit down. Hi. But they insisted on saying hello to everybody. And now we realize they're from the mental institution in Manteno, Illinois at that time.
Oh, okay.
They're from there, and so we started telling them, "Hey, you guys are from Manteno." So be nice, because people that were from the mental institution. So it would be nice. When the women all said hello to everybody, but they start saying, "Where's Charlie? Where's Charlie?"
Oh, no.
They said to us, "Charlie hasn't been out in 10 years from the institution. This is his first time out, and here comes Charlie. This guy, he has on like a big yellow hat with flaps on it. Then he's got on like a green shirt, purple pants, 2 different type shoes. And Charlie's walking around. Charlie, they said, Charlie, we're over here, Charlie. Charlie comes and says, these are nice people here, Charlie. Charlie says, Charlie decided he wanted to shake hands with all 50 of my buddies.
He didn't.
Yeah, he's going to shake hands with all 50 of them. And they're going, Charlie, nice to meet Charlie, but we're trying to be nice to the guy because he's from the institution. He ain't been out in 10 years.
Right.
Charlie, can you sit down? We're trying to watch a game. Charlie finally shakes hands with everybody. He sits down and he orders a beer. And the women tell us Charlie hasn't had a beer in 10 years.
Oh,
here comes the old style man. Old style, selling old style beer, right?
Right.
Charlie, I think it was $1 a cup then. Charlie gives the guy $1. The guy fills up the cup. Charlie gets the beer. We're telling him, Charlie, sit down. Charlie goes to the rail and he dumps the beer off the rail down to people down below. Now we're going, did you see what he did? He just dumped that beer over the rail. Now there's a guy down there going, hey, you son of a, what the hell is wrong with you? And I said, holy cow. Charlie sits down. The next inning, here comes like an usher.
Yeah.
Said, I need to talk to you, sir. And they take Charlie away.
Right.
It's like the second inning. About the 4th inning, here comes Charlie back. Charlie's back. Now he wants to shake hands with all 55 guys, 50 guys
he
again.
does not.
We said, Charlie, no, Charlie, come on, Charlie, sit down once again. Charlie orders a beer.
No.
Yeah, I said, he's ordering another beer. He gets it filled up. He walks and he dumps that
No,
over the
he
rail.
does not.
He dumps it over the rail. Now we're going, I can't believe it. He dumped the second beer over the rail. Now the guys down there going, I'll kill you, you rotten son. They're swearing at me. Yeah. Here they come with a security guy, and they take Charlie away. That's like in the 4th inning. Oh, poor Charlie. Now, 7th inning, here comes Charlie back again. Charlie's coming back again. But now, my guy's getting a fight. I'm buying this beer. No, you ain't. I'm buying. This is a historic moment.
Right. No,
I'm buying. No, I'm buying this beer. I'm paying for this. No, it's on me. Charlie. They give. Sure enough, Charlie, and he dumps it over.
No, he did not.
Now this time they came and they carried him out of the ballpark. They had like 4 guys. They're carrying him out of the ballpark. But the stands, everybody's going, Charlie. The Cubs lost 13-0 that day.
No.
They lost 13-0 that day, but it's still my favorite time at Wrigley Field.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I wish that could have been filmed in a movie.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
hysterical. It was hysterical.
You almost can't believe that.
I know. I don't know how he kept getting back in the ballpark.
Right.
I mean, I imagine they took him down to security, threatened him,
Right.
and told him, and then they realized that he wasn't.
Oh my
and they
gosh.
bring him back.
I can't imagine you guys. I'm buying this beer
Oh,
right
yeah.
now, right?
Oh, that was a historic moment.
That was a historic moment. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I have a quick funny, which kind of relates to you. It's not as funny as that, but I'm at a Cub game. I'm young, 6 years old, six years old, right? I am with my dad. I am with Tim Reitman, okay?
Oh, yeah.
For those of you who don't know who Tim Reitman is, he is the tight end for the 85 Bears, right?
Yeah, tight end for 85 Bears. By the way, Super Bowl champion.
Super Bowl champion.
And I introduced your dad to him.
You did. My dad's around 6 feet tall. Now, Tim Reitman is what, 6'3",
yeah, big guy.
6'3", right?
Yeah.
He has 2 other people with him, and they're over 6'2", right? And then there's me, who's, 4 foot whatever, right? Sitting in the game, probably 4th or 5th inning comes by. Foul ball comes, right? Comes. I'm going, this ball might come by us, right? This ball is coming right at us, right? Now you can imagine these literal bears. They're going, oh, we're going to get this ball, right? Ball lands, right? They all pile on top of each other, right? They're going, I'm going to get you. Probably a fight for maybe 10 seconds. The ball rolls right to my foot.
Oh, really?
The ball's right to my foot. I get the ball. I hold it up. The whole section goes, yeah! The little kid got it. They said, hey, good job, kid. But I couldn't believe all these 6'2" grown men getting a tight end for the Chicago Bears, but that's my good.
How many times you go to a ballpark and a foul ball goes in there, and president and CEO of a major corporation who makes $500,000 a year,
Right.
He's diving over chairs trying to get that stupid ball.
Isn't that
Yeah,
crazy?
I know.
Oh, my gosh, just for a little foul ball. That's so funny. Well, we talked about good things happening in baseball. Other good things happening are the Chicago Bears. The Bears are doing pretty good. I hope I don't eat my words in a few
Yeah, you will be.
weeks.
I'm sure that we're going up and down with them. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
But we talked about Tim Reitman and the 85 Bears, and you were around that, right? I mean, you watched them.
I went to the 85. I used to do shows for the Brian Piccolo Foundation. Brian Piccolo played for the Bears. There was a movie made about his life with Gale Sayers and James Caan played
Yeah.
Brian Piccolo.
Uh-huh.
And oh God, the guy who played Gale Sayers. Anyhow, I'll think of that in a minute.
Right.
But anyhow, so every year, Brian Piccolo died in his early 20s with a thing called embryonal carcinoma. And at that time, there was like a 2% cure rate. And so he died, and people loved him so much in Chicago. He was such a wonderful guy that people loved him so much that they had a charity every year, the Brian Piccolo Foundation, and they wanted the money to go to that specific cancer, because there's 400 different types of cancers.
Yeah.
But the cancer that killed Brian. And today it has like a 98% cure rate.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
The research and all the money. Anyhow, so because I did those every year, the Bears called me in on the Super Bowl, the McCaskey family, Michael.
Sure, yeah.
And called me and said, we're going to give you 50-yard line tickets to the Super Bowl.
Nice.
$75 a ticket.
Yeah.
I mean, Super Bowl tickets go for $1,500,
$75 a ticket.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, and I said, oh, great. So, and I fly to New Orleans, and I'm going to meet a lady friend of mine, and she's going to go to the game with me.
Sure.
But she got the flu. And now, game day, I've got 2 tickets, and I'm walking to the... First of all, I hung out with the Bears during the week. I hung out with Tom Thayer and with Tim Reitman.
And you were tight with all of them.
Oh, yeah, really, really good guys. And Mike Tomzak.
Yeah.
And, we had a great time. Everybody was partying. The Bears knew they were going to win. It wasn't like
right.
they knew they were going to win, and
right.
they did. They beat the Patriots, 42-10.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so they're partying a lot.
Yeah.
Quick side story: Mike Tomzak, we told these two girls that were pretty loose girls down in New Orleans. We said, "I wonder if you could help our friend," because Mike was a young kid then. He was like 22, 23. He was third.
The quarterback, right? Yeah.
He was a quarterback, yeah. There was Jim McMahon, there was Steve Fuller, and then there was Mike Tomzak.
Yeah.
And so Mike was a young kid, so he looked innocent, but he's lethal. And so we told the girls, he's never had any relationship with a woman, he's a virgin. And all. They said, really? And after a few drinks, they decided they took him in this limo. Little did they know, Mike was a demon, Yeah. But anyhow, so that was one of the funny things that we did. But anyhow, I hung out with the Bears. Now I'm walking to the game, and people are holding up signs. Need 2 tickets. Need 1 ticket. Need 4. And,
scalpers, yeah.
We'll pay $1,000. We'll pay $500. I'm thinking, wow, I could sell my ticket and make some money here.
Yeah.
But then I thought, it'd be just my luck. It'll be a cop, and I'll get arrested.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I get to the stadium, and there's a guy, a sad-looking guy. He's got need 1 ticket. Need 1 ticket. Anybody need 1 ticket? I said to the guy, I stopped, and I said, you know what? I have a ticket, and it's $75.
Wow.
I said, you give me. He said, sir, 70. Where's the seats at, sir? I said, we're on the 50-yard line. Oh, sir, this is a gag. This is a trick, huh? Sir, please, sir. He said, all I got is $360. That's all I got, and that's all I can pay. I said, this is not a gag. He said, sir, I said, walk in with me. He said, but I'll lose my spot here. I said, I'm telling you, this is the truth. These tickets are on the 50-yard line. I'll explain to you later. Walk in with me and see if I'm not telling the truth. We walk in, and sure enough, we get inside. He's going to pay me. I said, you know what? You don't have to pay me. I don't need $75.
Right.
This poor guy looked like a guy like this would be the greatest day of his life.
Right.
I take him down the 50-yard line. Now, we get there before the game. I'm sitting in all Chicago Bear fans.
Sure, yeah.
All in that area. It was in New Orleans where the Super Bowl was at that time. There's 5 guys behind me. In those days, they called them the Blues Brothers. The Bears dressed up like... So they had these 5 big Irish guys who owned an Irish bar in Chicago, and they got their mother with her.
Nice.
It was like O'Flaherty's or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're going, hey, Dreesen, hey, Tom Dreesen, hey, why don't you come to our bar once in a while when you come to Chicago? I always read you over at Gibson Steakhouse. We ain't that far away. And I'm going, hey, guys, and then people start sending programs down to me. Would you sign an autograph? So
nice.
I'm saying, now the guy says to me, wow, are you some kind of athlete or something like that? I said, no, I'm a comedian. You're a comedian? I never saw you. I said, that's okay. You don't have to worry about it. Now, meanwhile,
great.
All of a sudden, what I don't know is, and all the fans are what I don't know is, this guy's a Patriot fan. I don't know that at that time. He never said a word to me about who he was rooting for anything. Anyhow, the Bears, had the greatest defense team.
Yeah, the 85 Bears, right?
Yeah, 85 with a great defense team. But Patriots scored first. They kicked a field goal for 3-0.
Yeah.
This guy says, "Hey, you big Bear fans, huh? I thought you had this great defense. Well, we're up 3-0. Where's your defense now?" I went, "Hey." Now the guys are saying, "Shut up." People are hollering, "Shut up." I said, "Hey, no, you seem like a nice guy. Most Bear fans are assholes. They're real jerks." And I'm saying, said the guy.
no.
Now I'm begging the guy, "Come take." Meanwhile, he's now the Bears start scoring. Guys are throwing stuff down on top of us. "Hey, how about that? How's that? How's our defense now?"
Gosh.
Oh God! Anyhow, I finally left him, and I went up at halftime,
Yeah.
and I stood up on a rail up there, and I never went back down there again.
You never went
I never
back?
No. I mean, we were going to get strangled.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh.
That's a classic example of no good deed ever goes unpunished.
Goes unpunished, right? Oh, you got to have. There's two teams I wish I would have loved to watch, the '85 Bears, and I would have loved to watch Jordan in the '90s. I would have loved to watch them. But, I mean, you got to have so many stories about, because Jim McMahon is your buddy.
Yeah, we say, he calls me Dad. He always refers to me as Dad. And so does Tim Reitman.
Yeah.
They call me, Tim Reitman calls me Daddy-O.
Yeah.
But Jim, and I love Jimmy Mackey. Why Chicago loved people like Jim McMahon,
Right.
Harry Carey, Mike Ditka, because what you saw is what you get.
Yeah.
They weren't two different. That's who he is.
Right.
That's who Jim McMahon is when on TV or off TV. That's
Really?
who he is. And same way with Ditka, and same way with Harry Carey.
Yeah.
It's like if they were bartenders in corner taverns in Chicago.
Yeah.
That's who they are. They're the neighborhood guys.
Where's he from, Jim McMahon? Do you know?
Yeah, he's from California here, out in
Oh, is he?
California. Yeah, from California here, but he played at BYU. He was the only Catholic ever to go to BYU.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
he was a great quarterback. And anyhow, and he could read defenses as good as anybody in the business.
He was a great quarterback, right?
That's why he called so many audibles.
Yeah.
Ditka would say, "Don't call any audible." I tell a great story. Ditka, they would let me be on the sidelines.
Yeah, wow.
Ditka would let me come on the sidelines in the game.
Yeah.
And one time, as McMahon could get up underneath that center and he'd see they read the play.
Mm-hmm.
He sees the defense lining up. They know this play is coming. So he'd audible.
Right.
He'd audible and call a different play. For those who don't know football, he'd call a different play on the line. They might have a number. When I played football, it might be a number. It'd say, if he got up in the line, he'd say, "Blueberry." And that meant we're changing the play.
Right.
Yeah. And they holler out something, "Metcalf," and that means we know the play.
Right.
Anyhow, so Jim would call an audible, and Ditka used to get so mad. But this is an impression of Ditka. On the sidelines. All right, Jimmy, you got to play now. Jimmy, don't you audible me. Jimmy, damn it, don't you audible. Jimmy, damn it. Good pass, Jimmy, good pass.
That's how it would go, huh? My gosh. But then, you have to know they had, in my professional opinion, one of the greatest running backs of all time.
Oh, Walter Payton.
Sweetness.
Yeah, sweetness, yeah.
And he really was sweet.
He was the nicest, kindest guy. And on a football field, it was really like nobody like him.
Yeah.
He was so wonderful and strong.
Yeah.
I would come up behind him and I'd put my arms around him and say, hey, Walter. He'd say, Tommy. And he'd get down and he'd do push-ups with me on his back.
Would he really?
Oh, he was strong.
He was built like, he was chiseled. He was built like a rock, right?
Yeah.
That's incredible. Man, I would have loved to watch them.
And the Bulls, the 6 championships Michael brought to. You know what I love about Michael Jordan? When I was in the Navy, they always referred to Chicago as gangsters. They only knew Al Capone about Chicago. My company commander nicknamed me Capone.
Did he
Capone,
really?
yeah, because you're Italian from the South Side or
Yeah.
something. But if you went overseas and you said, "Where are you from?" You say Chicago. They'd say, Al Capone or gangster.
Would they really?
Yeah, really. They thought of that Chicago was that the St. Valentine's Day massacre.
Yeah,
all the gangsters and the mobsters in Chicago always got headlines. But when Michael Jordan comes along,
Yeah.
and Michael Jordan became the greatest basketball player, in my opinion, who ever lived.
Of all time, yeah.
Of all time, in my opinion. I mean, there's argument. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
You can't take that away from him either.
No.
But to me, Michael, 6 championships in a row, but Michael, when you'd go overseas anywhere and you'd say Chicago, they'd say, "Oh, Michael Jordan." So that's one of the things I loved about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And I played a lot of golf with Michael. We played on a tour. There was a a golf tour called the Celebrity Players Tour.
Mm-hmm.
It was basketball, baseball, football, hockey, tennis, and show business people that were 10 handicap or below.
Uh-huh.
So it was Johnny Bench, Mike Schmidt, Mario Lemieux, John Elway, Dan Marino, Michael Jordan.
Wow.
We had 42 Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
Jim McMahon was on that tour, a lot of those guys. We had 42 Hall of Famers, and then also in show business, it was me, Matt Lauer, Brian Gumbo, Smokey Robinson, Jack Wagner, who's the greatest celebrity golfer of all time. Golf Digest in 2005 said I was the third best celebrity golfer.
Attaboy. There you go.
But a lot of people would argue that point, including me.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I'm playing with Michael Jordan one time up in Sacramento. Joe Morgan had a golf tournament. We did 12 cities a year. I had a golf tournament in Chicago. Wherever we would go, like if we went to Cincinnati, maybe Johnny Bench would have an event there.
Nice.
In Pittsburgh, Mario Lemieux had an event there.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so I'm playing with Michael Jordan in this foursome in a celebrity tournament, and wherever Michael goes, there were thousands of kids would come, and you have the gallery there, you have the ropes, and everything. But from the first hole, Michael, little kids, Michael, they'd have their papers they want to autograph. Michael. By the third hole, I'm off the side of the green. I'm in a little bit off the green, but I'm on a putt. I'm getting up, they're going, Michael. I stopped and I said, kids, please, could you just be quiet for a minute? Michael said, hold it. I got to shoot free throws with 10,000 people waving towels. You can putt with a couple kids saying, Michael.
He said that. Well,
I said, you know what, Michael, you're right.
You got a good point.
You got a good point there, yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Now, there's something I want to talk about that it relates to football, and I almost couldn't believe it, and I brought it. Where is it? It's right here. Okay.
Where did you get this off the?
Off the internet.
Oh, off the internet.
This is also what I do while we talk on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. You draw pictures of me.
Right, yeah. I almost can't believe this, so you got to fact check this, all right? According to local folklore, just before the regional playoff game against Breckenridge in 1977, Coach Schaefer returned home from a late practice. Dean Martin's celebrity roast was on TV. On this particular episode, Tom Dreesen was roasting actor Dan Haggerty, who is the star of The Life and Time of Grizzly Adams. Tom Dreesen talked to Haggerty about how different his upbringing on the south side of Chicago was from the mountain setting on Grizzly Adams. One of the words the comedian recalled from his childhood was AHMO, AHMO, as in, I'm going to go to the store, or I'm going to kick your butt. Knowing that the Pirates were huge underdogs to Breckenridge and that Wiley had never made it past the second round of the playoffs to that point, Schaefer decided he would use the new word to motivate his team. True or false?
True. And then unbelievable. I did that joke on the Dean Martin roast.
Yeah.
and I've done it in my...
This is true. You did it on the Dean Martin
roast. I did it on the
roast.
roast. And it wasn't like a big joke. It was always a setup to another joke that I would tell.
Yeah.
But, the guys in my neighborhood, hey, I'm gonna kick your butt.
So people used it in your neighborhood.
Yeah. That was. It became a joke. Like, hey, I'm gonna kick your butt. Yeah. Yeah. So I did that joke on Dan and Dean Martin roast. Unbeknownst to me, 38 years go by.
Yeah.
I get a email from a woman named, she was on my Facebook, actually. She was on my Facebook page, but she contacts me. Her name is Anita Wiley. I say Wiley. I think she pronounces it Willie, but Anita Wiley. She had gone to my high school, Thornton High School. She's much younger than me, years after me. And when the coach Schaefer had come back to the school after all these years to teach a class or something like that, and the students were interviewing him, and he told that story, and she goes, "I know who Tom Dreesen is," and she contacts me. She said, "Do you know that they took your joke, AHMO, and they became their battle cry. When they won the game that day, they won it with 6 seconds to go. And all during that game, they'd break huddle, AHMO. They'd get down, kneel down for that, AHMO, AHMO. That became their battle cry.
Yeah.
The cheerleaders go back to Wiley, Texas at night, and start putting on all the stores, AHMO, 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 AHMO. It becomes their battle cry, AHMO, AHMO. That now, all of a sudden, they do it at all the games. Whether they're winning or losing, the crowd chants, AHMO, AHMO. They had watches, bracelets, they have keychains, they have hats that say AHMO. Shirts, the football team wears AHMO across their chest in a football team.
Look, it's right here, AHMO.
Yeah, we'll show that. AHMO, that's on their jerseys.
Yeah.
AHMO. They would get people to put up a sign like this, AHMO. They would ask Nobel Peace Prize people. They would ask celebrities. They would ask people if the freshman class, the sophomore class, the junior class, if they could get people to the whatever class got the most people to hold up the sign,
Right.
they would get like a free field trip or something like that. Now, she's telling me all this story. I'm thinking this is some kind of gimmick, some kind of trap. They're going to get me in and go and make a fool out of me,
Right, yeah.
And but it's all real. I fly down there for their homecoming game.
And this was when?
This is several years back. But the school superintendent, his name was Verdi. He got a hold of me and he said, Mr. Dreesen, we'd like to have you come down here for the homecoming thing and blah, blah, blah. And I still can't get over, that this joke AHMO went that far.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not telling you everything. When I got down there, people were showing me their wedding pictures where they had AHMO on the altar of AHMO. They have, again, hats, jerseys, belts, keychains, all of this. The school would sell this, and then it would go to the school funds,
Yeah.
Because Dave Letterman, when I went on the Letterman show and showed that, Letterman said, you should have got some money. I said, no, I wanted it all for the high school.
Right.
But I'm still stunned. I wrote over 1,000 jokes in my career. That is the dumbest joke that I've ever wrote. That is not. that would motivate a team. Now, the definition of AHMO was I forgot what do they call it?
It said there's those who believe it's an acronym for agile, hostile, mobile offense, and then on defense, annihilate, humiliate, mutilate, and obliterate.
Yeah. See, now I say you can use AHMO for. I would tell when the students down there. I gave a motivation talk to the students, and I did my show down there for them. I said, to me, AHMO, you can use that acronym for anything you want. I say, attitude and heart motivates opportunity.
Wow.
Attitude and heart, motivates opportunity.
Right.
Or attitude and heart meets opportunity. But you can use AHMO for whatever you want. You can make it whatever you want. But I was blown away. At halftime, they had me go out on the center of the field and raise the flag, AHMO.
Yeah.
Now, you'd have thought I was Shakespeare. They said, the man who wrote AHMO. Oh,
Are you serious?
well,
And you walk out?
Your dad went with me down there.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
dad was my road manager at that time, and he
Yeah.
went with me down there. It was unbelievable.
Well, it's so because it says in 1974, after the Pirates posted a 1-19 record, he was given the coaching duties, and then in 77, and that saying, it says, led them to the state championship.
Yeah. By the way, high school football is big in Texas.
Oh, it's the biggest.
You have to see their stadium at Wrigley, Texas. They have like $50 million football stadiums in high schools down
they
there.
really?
Yeah, back in the day, they've got a state-of-the-art football field,
Yeah.
stadium, and I mean, people were coming up to me from all over and giving me this credit. I said, no, the coach. To me, Coach Schaefer, he's the genius. He took the word and he turned it into the motivating factor.
I can't believe it. I almost thought it wasn't true for a second.
I didn't either. 38 years go by. When I went on Letterman, he said, I said, I never knew that happened. Never. And Coach Schaefer, like I say, he came back years later after he retired to teach a class, and the students interviewed him, as I said, and he said that's where he got it from.
Wow. Can you? I know we talked about this, and we'll talk about it again, but I can't believe you're shaking hands with Jordan and Jim McMahon, and I mean you're a bat boy for the Cubs. Can you even believe it sometimes?
I can't believe they were shaking hands with me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No.
I can't believe it though.
Well, no, I have so many pinch me moments. I mean, 14 years touring with Frank Sinatra, opening for Frank Sinatra.
That's a whole nother, yeah.
Yeah, 20,000 seat arenas. Touring with Smokey Robinson, I was a fan of. All these people that I toured with, I was a fan of before I ever was in show business.
Right.
So they're all pinch me moments for me. I caddied when I was a little boy. I carried 2 bags a day to help feed my brothers and sisters. And then I'm playing in the Bob Hope Classic. I'm the master of ceremonies for the Bob Hope Classic. Right. And then I'm playing in the AT&T. Right. Clint Eastwood, he knows my buddy.
Yeah.
He gets me in the AT&T, and I became the master of ceremonies there.
Right.
And I'm playing in I used to watch, when I came out of the Navy, we'd go to the Corner Tavern, and it was called the Sulky Inn where we hung out at, or Sparrow's Tavern, or Joe and Mary's Dugout. I was at all of them. But on Saturdays, we would watch all the games. I'd be watching golf, the Bob Hope Classic, and I said to my buddies that used to caddy, hey, why don't we go down there in Palm Springs and try to caddy, not for the pros, try to caddy for the amateurs that play in it, and we'd be in that environment. Yeah. And one day I'm playing in it.
You're playing.
And I played with Arnold Palmer. I played with Freddie Couples. I played with Peter Jacobs. I played with Chichi Rodriguez, Lee Trevino, Jack Nicklaus. I've played with all these guys, and I'd always ask him for advice. I'd get 3x5 cards.
Sure.
And I'd say, can you help me with my golf swing?
Yeah.
And they'd give me advice, and I'd write it down.
What's the biggest advice that a golfer gave you?
Probably, Jack Nicklaus said to me, one time, and he said, Tommy, I said, could you give me advice like in a sentence for a golfer? He said, yeah, alignment, and he said, alignment and putting. I said, alignment and putting. He said, Tommy, two of the most important things. You're on a par 5 hole. Mm-hmm. If you align yourself correctly, you're aligned properly, and you hit a bad shot, but it's toward the target.
Yeah.
It isn't a slicer hook, but it's toward the target, a bad shot. You go to your second shot, and you align yourself properly, and you hit a bad shot, but it's toward the target.
Yeah.
He said, now you hit your third shot, and it's really a bad shot, and it rolls up on the far right hand of the green. Mm-hmm. Okay? And now you make that putt. You just made a birdie on a par 5. You hit 3 bad shots. But you made that fourth putt. So alignment and putting, he said, work on your putting. Putting is king on the pro tour.
Yeah.
A lot of guys who are real good ball strikers get on the
smoke that thing.
But if you can't putt, putting is really king.
That's like me. I like 3-putt every time when I go on the golf course. So.
The story of my life.
Yeah. Right. I love it. Oh, well, it's incredible, and I love the sports stories, and I love sports. We're both sports guys. I mean, I grew up playing baseball, football. You grew up playing basketball, baseball, football. So, yeah, do you want to wrap up, and do you want to leave us with anything?
You know what? I give motivation talks all the time on 4 subjects: perception, visualization, self-talk, and develop a sense of humor. But I once wrote, like, for the vowels, A-E-I-O-U. Mm-hmm. And I would leave this at the end of my motivation talk sometimes. I'd say, A-E-I-O-U, folks. A, action. Take immediate action. Every 1,000-mile journey begins with the first step. E, enthusiasm. Be enthusiastic about any endeavor that you embark upon. Emerson said, nothing can be achieved without enthusiasm. I, inspire. Inspire others to be all they can be. Small people belittle your ambitions, but successful people believe that you too can become successful. O, outlaw. Outlaw negative thoughts to take control of you. Wisdom is avoiding all the thoughts that weaken you. Remember that line. Wisdom is avoiding all the thoughts that weaken you.
You say that a lot in your motivation talks. Wisdom is avoiding all the thoughts that weaken you.
And you know the thoughts that weaken you. You know the ones that you're laying there, you're thinking it makes you feeling bad. Yeah. Cancel them. Outlaw.
Right.
You, unwilling. Once you set a goal, if it is a noble endeavor, then be unwilling to give up your dream, especially when the going gets tough. Unwilling. Be unwilling. Be unwilling. Once you set a goal, if it's a noble endeavor, be unwilling to give up your dream, especially when the going gets tough. A-E-I-O-U. And we'll post that for you.
Did you make that up?
Yes.
You made that up?
That's I gave motivation, been given motivation talks for years. I've read so many books. I've talked to you about so many books that I've read. And so I decided to write my own program. Yeah. And what helped me go from a raggedy kid on the south side of Chicago to one day all my dreams came true. Yeah. Everything that I wanted to accomplish in my life, I have. And more than that. Yeah. And so many things on the side. I mean, once I set my mind to that goal, and if you read my book, and this is a cheap plug on the book, but it's a book of triumph. Yeah. And you can get it on Amazon,
How many 5-star reviews does it have?
It's got 450, almost 500 5-star reviews.
Wow.
But in it is I got knocked down many times in my life, physically and mentally, and in our business is full of rejections, as you know. Yeah. But I kept getting back up again. Yeah. And you can make your dreams come true. You just have to work at it. And there's a lot of books that will help you with that.
Yeah. That's the one a lot of people tell me, just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Never give up, because it's going to be the hardest thing you do. But I guess if it was easy, everyone would do it, right?
Amen.
Well, we're going to wrap things up. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We are on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify Podcasts. And we will see you next time. Cool.
Who's Tom Dreesen?
Who is Tom Dreesen?